SOC 101 Study Session 2 The Sociological Perspective. Introduction. It is not always an easy task to associate the establishment of a discipline with certain individuals. Such endeavors would no doubt be besieged with many errors. This is because certain circumstances may bring recognition to some people and not to others, even though the latter must have started the agitation or struggle before those recognized. In this lecture, we shall consider some of the founding fathers of sociology. Nonetheless, before the emergence of sociology as an established discipline, there had been earlier thoughts by people like Ibn Khaldun, an Arabic scholar, who advocated for the need of a new science that will help in understanding human society. He employed the term al-Umram, translated to mean sociology, to describe the new science that will help provide understanding of human society. However, Ibn Khaldun is not recognized as the founding father of sociology. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to define and use correctly all of the keywords printed in bold. Also identify and mention the founding fathers of sociology. Also mention the 3 stages of society's development by Auguste Comte. And lastly, explain the starting point of Max Weber's analysis of human behavior. Some founding fathers of sociology. Auguste Comte, 1798 to 1857. Auguste Comte is widely recognized as the founding father of sociology, as he was the first person believed to have coined the word sociology, and also gave the principles upon which the new science operates. The Europe-centered nature of knowledge and the recognition of Comte as the first founder of sociology could be explained on the basis that the greatest revolution so far in the history of mankind occurred in Europe. Ake, 1973. Comte was a European, that is a French, and he lived during the years of Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution so much affected the social structure or fabric of the European society, such that the pre-existing social order was destabilized and altered. Comte first described the epistemological perspective of the new science, which is positivism, in a series of texts he published between 1830 and 1842, which he titled The Course in Positive Philosophy. These texts were followed by his 1848 work, A General View of Positivism, published in English in 1865. The first 3 volumes of the course dealt mainly with the natural or physical sciences already in existence, which include mathematics, astronomy, physics, chemistry, and biology. The later 2 volumes of the course emphasize the inevitable coming of the social science, particularly sociology. Comte may be regarded as the first philosopher of science in the modern sense of the term. This is primarily due to the fact that Comte was also the first to distinguish natural philosophy from science explicitly. For him, the natural or physical sciences had arrived first before humanity. However, the latter have a more challenging and complex task of perfecting the inadequacies of the later. His view of positivism has defined, in more detail, the empirical goals of sociological method. Comte believed that change is inevitable in society. He suggested that humans can study the society in a static form when they consider the existing social structure. He also showed that they can also carry out their study of society when the society is changing, that is, in its dynamic form. Studying society's change, according to Comte, would surely help to explain the development of society, which to him is predictable. He posited that society moves gradually from the lowest to the highest levels in the order of theological, metaphysical, and positive stages. The theological stage was seen from the perspective of the 19th century France as preceding the Enlightenment period, in which man's place in society and society's restrictions upon man were reverenced to God. Man blindly believed in whatever he was taught by his ancestors. He believed in a supernatural power. Fetishism played a significant role during this time. By the metaphysical stage, Comte was not referring to the metaphysics of Aristotle or other ancient Greek philosophers. Rather, the idea was rooted in the problems of French society subsequent to the Revolution of 1789. This metaphysical stage involved the justification of universal rights as being on a higher plane than the authority of any human ruler to contradict. These rights were not reverenced to the sacred beyond mere metaphor. This stage is known as the stage of investigation because people started reasoning and questioning, although no solid evidence was laid. The stage of investigation was the beginning of a world that questioned authority and religion. In the scientific or positive stage, which came into being after the failure of the revolution, people could find solutions to social problems and bring them into force despite the proclamations of human rights or prophecy of the will of God. At this stage, science now started to answer questions in full stretch. Comte's stages are regarded as the processes of evolution of consciousness. Barker, 2005. In spite of Comte's acceptance of inevitability of change, one can see that he still felicitated with the existence of a stable and perfect society. He believed that human beings always desire order. The possibility of order in society, according to Comte, is through social institutions, which have control over individuals in society. It is a society that, according to Comte, can bring about change and not any individual. Comte's positive science, sociology, was therefore to investigate how society can bring about moral regeneration based on the reconstruction of the disordered society. The government, to Comte, being the highest ruling body, is recommended as the instrument of change and order. One of the weaknesses of Comte's work is that he did not venture to examine the negative impact of society on the individual. Wernick, 2001. Herbert Spencer, 1820 to 1903. Herbert Spencer was an English philosopher, biologist, sociologist, and prominent classical liberal political theorist of the Victorian era. Spencer was an enthusiastic exponent of evolution. He developed an all-embracing conception of evolution as a progressive development of the physical world, biological organisms, the human mind, and the human culture and societies. Spencer is best known for coining the concept survival of the fittest, which he did in Principles of Biology in 1864, after reading Charles Darwin's work on the origin of species. To Spencer, whatever hardship society is going through is natural, and that ultimately development shall result. In other words, there is no need to interfere in societal processes. This implies that government or state interventions should be kept at the barest minimum in governing the people. People are to endure as they strive to adjust to their environment. Spencerian analysis postulates a natural order which societies will pass through. However, this analysis did not explain what will bring about societal change. Emile Durkheim, 1858 to 1917. Durkheim referred to sociology as a science of society. He also defined sociology as a science of institutions. He believed in the gathering of data and observation with which to test theories and make predictions about human behavior. Durkheim was interested in understanding how society is held together and how common values and beliefs and patterns of behavior came into existence. Just like Comte and Spencer, Durkheim also held the view that society is more important than the individual. Therefore, in order to explain human behavior, the societal norms, values, and beliefs should be observed because human beings have accepted the values of the group or society. To study the society is to study the large institutions, functioning to maintain the whole structure. Just like Spencer, Durkheim put forward that society is like a living body with all its organs performing different functions, but are linked together and dependent on each other to maintain the well-being of the whole. Societal institutions, therefore, provide common rules, laws, customs, obligations, attitudes, and values to exercise control over individuals and groups so as to ensure the stability of society. Durkheim did not, however, explain the changes in society except for the organic analogy and what brings about change. He was preoccupied with gathering social facts about institutions and how these facts maintain order. He employed this technique in the study of suicide, where he gathered data and then analyzed this data on the basis of age, sex, religion, and so on. He found out that women who are married and have children, that is, who are in a family and are Catholics, are less likely to commit suicide than unmarried childless Protestant male. He used this as a yardstick for a general description of human behavior, in addition to showing how institutions help to maintain or control orderly behavior. Karl Marx, 1818 to 1883. Karl Marx cannot only be regarded as a sociologist because his works and writings have influenced economics, philosophers, political scientists, historians, among others. Marx was concerned with explaining the processes of change in society, as well as taking part in the changes. He opposed and was against the existing order and believed that it should be changed. Marx employed historical perspective in explaining change and what can bring about further changes. He was never in favor of a value-free sociology. For Marx, human behavior and social change can be explained by the inevitability of people's struggle for survival. Human beings have to eat, build houses, and do other things that make life possible, and consequently, in the process of satisfying their needs, human beings are bound to enter into relationships with one another. This relationship, in which an individual enters either as an owner of the means of production or as a non-owner of the means of production, according to Marx, determines the nature of behavior which should be studied. The latter is the case of the oppressed, who is always in conflict with the oppressor. It is this conflict position which Marx believes explains change and order in societies, where the owner of means of production is able to maintain order. Marx believed that such a person will create institutions that will ensure such a person's permanent subordination of the oppressed. On the other hand, if the oppressed realize their existential situation, they will act to bring about a change in the status quo. Max Weber, 1864 to 1920. Weber has been described as arguing against the ghost of Karl Marx. He contended that the economic considerations emphasized by Marx is said to be an over-exaggeration of what brought about change in European society. For instance, Weber argued that laying emphasis only on economic considerations without taking into account the influence of ideas and the impact of significant individuals is not enough if human behavior and ensuing social changes are to be understood. Hence, he championed a value-free sociology and the need to understand before one can explain human behavior. The starting point of Weber's analysis of human behavior is the individual. Unlike Comte, Spencer and Durkheim, and even Marx, Weber opined that society is a total sum of individuals interacting together. It is in this process of interaction that he believed individuals exercise influence on each other's behavior accordingly. This position forms the foundation of Weber's social action theory. Study session summary. The founding fathers of sociology include Auguste Comte, Herbert Spencer, Emile Durkheim, Karl Marx, and Max Weber. They dedicated much of their research towards the individual within the society. Individuals had to learn to deal with the enormous changes occurring within the society, that is, the Great Transformation. The four main aspects of modernity were industrialization, urbanization, rationalization, and capitalism. All these founding fathers believed that different aspects of each would present problems for individuals and society as a whole, and alienation would prove to be the biggest consequence of all. Their works and ideas, no doubt, had greatly influenced our understanding of the meaning, experiences, and consequences of living in the modern world. End of study session 2. Thank you for listening.